Hello, my name is Brianna, and today I'm going to be talking about the theme that I found in urban science education for the hip hop generation. The theme that I found was students should be taught in new ways that they find interesting. For instance, the ways in which teachers present different concepts or different things in science should be taught in a way that each generation finds interesting. For instance, in the newer generation right now, a lot of students are playing video games, and teachers should be able to find and incorporate different video games that can be used within sciences or within other subjects. The first article that I have talks about hands-on activities within science. Um, the quote is structured hands-on activities in which the teacher guides and focuses the students' investigations can be an essential component in helping students develop a meaningful understanding of science concepts. This article really talked about the way in which the hands-on activities can be incorporated into the classroom. For instance, the author went over some activities that were where students would just look or just inspect different objects, and they wouldn't have any questions or anything that would help them really learn or understand concepts that the teacher wanted them to. The author went over how having a structured hands-on activity, meaning that there was questions or other various things that the student would have to answer while they were observing or looking at said object. This way that the students would be able to learn a little bit more behind the concept or the ideas that the teacher wanted them to touch on or learn about. This way, the students would actually be able to learn more or retain more of the information by actually getting their hands into something that they would think is interesting, even though they are doing work and finding and learning about new concepts in science. The next article is an article that talks about how essentially one teacher's perspective on how she has adapted to the changes in kids she's seen over her 20 years of working as a teacher. The first quote is, "Kids should be able to deal with a changing world, and today more than ever, they need to know that there are positive ways to deal with change. That's what I try to teach them," says Novak, who advocates a connection between the teacher and each child in the classroom. She says she finds today's 6 to 8-year-olds brighter and more sophisticated than yesterday's children of similar age. She attributes the advances to earlier enrollment in nursery school and an increased exposure to television and computers. On the other hand, today's child appears needier, clingier, and in want of more attention and developments. Developments Novak attributes to changes in family, structure, and lifestyle, with more students coming from single-parent homes or having both their parents work. This article, in relations to the science and in general any of the other teaching at school, goes with how over time every generation can change, and how this teacher and possibly other teachers have changed the way that they may teach or the way that they work with each student or each generation of students. For instance, a way to help the teacher go create lessons that would help bring together either the teacher and the students or the students and their family, parents, is possibly creating lessons, whether it be science or any other subject, that bring the parent and the student together where they have to complete that lesson together or that homework assignment together. The next article talks about video games with science. Essentially, the article goes over how video games are able to teach students or whoever's playing them different ways to go about learning new things. Even though it's in a video game, it can be applied to things such as sciences that is seen, which is talked about in this article. The quote that I got was, "What differentiates video games from television, novels, and movies is that competence and increased skill are built into each one. A player's skill and processing ability must improve as she moves through the game. The game becomes increasingly more complex, and the player must become more competent in order to master play. From this article, the author was able to talk about how video games help students recognize different solutions and ways to get over hurdles that are found in the game, which I believe can also be used within the sciences, and how it would actually be interesting for students to be able to use certain video games and other things within the lessons that they are taught in class. For instance, the author talked about how they can use a game such as Spore within the classroom. And then I think to go along, I think another good game that would help benefit, for instance, learning different science subjects in class would be a game called Minecraft, where students would be able to learn about architecture, how plants grow, the movement of water, and learn about some different minerals and stuff that are found that you can find in that world, which can also be found in the real world. And then also, they would also have to learn how to be able to create their own home or their own way for their character to stay alive, essentially. The next article talked about class sizes and how that can either benefit or not benefit the way in which students are learning, or the way in which teachers are able to provide good enough lessons for these students, or good enough resources for those students. The quotes I have are: in the most definitive class size study, research in Tennessee found that students in classes of 13 to 17 did better than those in classes of 22 to 25 on reading and math tests. When kindergarten teacher David Jones started in an urban district, he had about 25 kids and no teacher's aide. That, he said, made it really tough. There were kids with special needs who needed individualized attention, he said. That was sometimes difficult. Jones, now a kindergarten teacher at Dallastown Elementary School, has a classroom aide and about 22 students. Having an extra adult in the room makes a big difference. For instance, for the teacher to be able to work with each of the students, especially if the students are very shy about asking questions in class because there's too many students. With a smaller class size, or with more adults in the classroom working with them, they can go to that adult and just ask them the question or ask for help. If it was a smaller class size, the teacher would be able to work, of course, with each student and give them a little bit more time than they would if they didn't have the smaller class, or if they didn't have another teacher's aide in the class, for instance. And then along with students who have disabilities, it also helps to have a smaller class size as well as maybe another adult. So that way, if something is happening with the student with a disability, such as there was too much noise in the class and the student wasn't able to handle it, or is freaking out a little bit, one of the adults would be able to go with that student and help them out and calm them down. Whereas if it was just the teacher with like 22, 25 students, the teacher really wouldn't be able to go with that student because then he would leave all the rest of the kids by themselves just doing whatever, because there wouldn't be someone to really monitor them while that teacher was helping the student with this disability. Articles that I found tie in with the theme, because these are little changes that can be made either within the classroom or within the school, and hopefully the district, that can both help teachers and students to have, whether it be more time to work with one another or to create different types of lessons or activities that would be helpful as well as interesting for students to complete. This way that students won't have to be bored while learning about science through just reading a textbook. They would actually be able to work with different hands-on activities or using video games that they might play outside of class and they didn't realize actually tied in to different science concepts. Um, Overall, it would be interesting to change the way that we teach by just adding simple changes such as, the video game and different types of hands-on activities that actually can benefit the students, even though it seems like they're just having fun, when in reality they might actually be learning different concepts.